Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the moon conjunct Saturn in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, well, if you have the moon conjunct Saturn in a natal chart, you obviously have very strong intensification and integration of energy. There could be a very intense need, which is the moon for, career related endeavors, and career is Saturn. And the thing about this is, like, so let's say if Saturn is in Aquarius as an example, career-related endeavors may include something connected with computers, electronics, astrology, astronomy, meteorology, aviation, or innovation as some examples. And it could be too, let's say if Saturn is in Capricorn is another example, career-related endeavors may include dentistry, accounting, masonry, could be general mundane work, political, government work, information technology as some other examples. And there also may be, much concentration, which is Saturn, on one's emotional needs, which is the moon. Now, the thing is, if you have your moon in Taurus as an example, emotional needs may include creature comforts, peace, tranquility, financial stability. It may be, doing something Taurus related, whether it could be something connected with gardening, cultivation, agriculture, architecture, something with carpet laying, doing something of an artistic, nature, whether it could be drawing, painting, or sculpting as some examples. And the thing is, the feelings and emotions, which is the moon, maybe, despondent or depressive, which is Saturn. Even, let's say if you have your moon in jocular or jovial Sagittarius as an example, you have a moon or more upbeat sign. Saturn, conjunct the moon can have an effect on this, and it may make, the emotional nature a little bit more negative, more pessimistic, again, more melancholy than otherwise indicated in the natal chart. There may even be some restriction or some inhibition in connection with expressing the emotions or emotional nature, emotional needs. So also to another way that the moon conjunct Saturn can manifest in a natal chart is that you may be very emotional, which is Saturn. I'm sorry, the moon, regarding your social status, your stature in life. You may be, which is Saturn, and you may be naturally more sensitive in matters pertaining to social status and stature in life, than most people. Uh, the thing about it is, if you have, especially like say if the moon is in a more sensitive sign like Cancer or Pisces, then the sensitivity can really, really be up there. If Saturn is in Sagittarius, there you still may have, certain, there may be some optimism and positivity in regards to one's social status and stature in life, but you may still, with a conjunction of the moon, nonetheless be more sensitive and emotional regarding those matters than most people. Now, another thing about this aspect is that the mother, which is the moon, and the father, which is Saturn, may be strongly, connected. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be exceptionally compatible, or what have you. And it doesn't mean that they're going to have, worse, a negative relationship, but you have to, look more at the synastry that would exist in their own charts with each other in order to really ascertain and determine that more. But anyway, they still may be strongly, connected to some degree. If you do have, the moon conjunct Saturn in, the natal chart. If Saturn, say, for example, is in Gemini, the father may actually be a Gemini, sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be someone that's very mercurial, loquacious, talkative, versatile, multifaceted, but yet maybe contradictory as well. And the thing is, if you have, again, the moon conjunct Saturn in the natal chart, another way it may manifest could be that you may intensely nurture and care, which is the moon, for the father, older people, and authority figures, which is Saturn. If the moon is in Gemini, you may show, nurturing and caring energy, through some kind of mental stimulation and, communication in general. If, the moon is in Cancer, you may really strongly nurture and care for these people. It could be doing things, with cooking, preparing food, doing things, such as laundry or plumbing, assistance for these people as some examples. And also, too, if you have the moon conjunct Saturn in a natal chart, you may strongly desire, the structure, which is Saturn, in your home life. And the thing is, if you have the moon in Pisces as an example, you may be, your home life may be somewhat, chaotic, but the Saturn conjunction may add, more structure and discipline in these matters than otherwise, indicated. If the moon is in Taurus, you may actually have, a home that's peaceful, stable, tranquil, that has, many creature comforts, and this could add even more, the structure, to this, as another example. And also, too, moon conjunct Saturn in the natal chart may be expressed in being, extremely sensitive, which is the moon, in matters that are associated with success. If you have your Saturn in Leo as an example, success, may be attained through something connected with acting or entertainment, or performing. It could be working in a circus as an example, or it could be doing something associated with the military, product demonstration, um, working with children, cardiology as some examples. Now, another thing too is that, this aspect may limit, which is the Saturn, the unconscious side, which is the moon, to some degree. If the moon is in Virgo as an example, the unconscious side may be analytical, punctilious with details, punctual, reliable, industrious, but yet maybe, judgmental and critical. But the Saturn, conjunction to this may limit that a little bit, to some degree, because Saturn is about limitation and restriction. And another thing too is that if you have this aspect in your natal chart, there may be chronic issues, which is Saturn, connected with the chest, the breast, the ribs, the stomach, and even the left or right eye, depending on gender, and that's the moon. And the thing is, if the moon, is in Aquarius, or say Saturn is in Aquarius, you have the conjunction in Aquarius. It may be something, that may be intermittent or sporadic, or it could be something, associated with some kind of twitching or spasms as an example. And also too, moon conjunct Saturn can also be about, that fear or inhibition, which is Saturn, of responding to some degree for whatever, varied reasons. It can be responding to others. You respond to somebody's need of help one time as an example. It could be a fear of, the person constantly, continually, asking for this. It could be, whether it's confidence in doing something, that the person needs as to why they're requesting, your help as an example. Another thing too is that there may be, inferiority issues with this aspect. The person may be, somewhat passive and fearful. But there may also be, laborious work and a lot of responsibilities with just Saturn in one's home life. And if you have this, say if the moon is in Sagittarius, it could simply be, the expansion of the home through some kind of home remodeling or renovation. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.